everyone, and welcome back to the Triple XRS podcast with me, Ashna Taktani, here to let you know that no matter what you face in life, you are not alone, sharing relatable stories for relatable students from relatable scenes. Today's episode is about taming and tackling the wild beast called time. We all have 86,400 seconds in a day. So, how come some of us end up like Warren Buffett and Steve Jobs and Serena Williams or Taylor Swift, and the others are struggling so much? It's clearly because we don't know how to manage our time wisely. Now, I'm not going to preach in this episode because I'm not going to act like I have it all together, but what I will say is I am back on track and I have improved my time management skills. So today, even though time management is all about finding that personalized plan, what works for you, I will be sharing some of the tried and tested methods, time management techniques that work for me. And I'll be sharing them with you to expose them to you. And it's basically all about managing your time, yes. And people say that, oh, just try these techniques and then you'll be able to manage your time. But it's actually easier said than done. I think it's something that needs to be fun and engaging, and it needs to appeal to you in order for you to actually use it. Because at the end of the day, it is our time that we are wasting, but time is so precious, you can't get it back. So today we're going to look at how we can use our time better so that we stop feeling so tired and behind or stuck all the time, and instead we start feeling more productive without that burnout extra. To give an example of that, but first I'd like to share that I did ask on my Instagram how many of you guys struggle with time management and you'd like to improve it. And I think around 100, 150 of you guys responded, and more than 80% of you said that, yeah, I suck at my time management skills and I really want to improve. I'm not going to say that I'm the best at time management, but I will say I'm getting better. Now, and I had the honor of being the UAE's youngest kids TV presenter, and covering Expo 2020. So looking into their activities, especially for families and kids. And I would have a weekly show, so it would be on the weekends, right? And I would have different things that I do. One would be live reporting, one would be in studio, one would be recording the videos that would then be presented in studio. So I would have roughly maybe 6-ish shoots every weekend. So sometimes we'd split it on the day, where it's like 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Sometimes it would be like all in one day. So, it would get kind of tiring, right? And keep in mind that I'm a student, an IB student, although I was in grade 8 that time, so nothing too hard, but still, projects, presentations. The one thing I know that I struggle with the most is procrastination, and because of that, my time management for me just becomes like 10 times harder because I procrastinate a lot. So what was happening was, I even though there was a script writer, I want everything to be authentic, to be raw, to come from me. So I used to do a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean crazy amounts of research. I just like to be prepared like that. And then I would also have to write my own scripts. And then Tock is a real thing. When I'm writing my script, sometimes it just doesn't come to me. So first I have to obviously spend time on research, then write my script, then send it to the script writer, and he would fix the things that I haven't put in properly or something along the way. Great script writer. Alongside that, I had some of my projects, presentations, and then also there was the fact that I had different classes. I um, did different sports. We've got training. You've got school. You've got meeting up with family, friends, just normal things. And I was struggling to manage my time to the point where I was pulling all nighters. And it's not even all nighters on a weekend, it's all nighters on school days. Because on weekends, I'd be up and at 'em like 5:30 in the morning because it's a pretty long day. Obviously, weekdays, it's school days. You come back around 3, 4, you got CCAs. It just takes up all of your time. And I was like, oh my God, I've got no time to actually like relax or focus, to the point where I started going to school and people were like, hey, are you okay? Because you look kind of tired. And I was like, what? And they were right, because I felt so tired too. Don't get me wrong, I was super happy and I loved that phase of my life because I was just doing so much and I was happy. But I was also tired. And so if there's one thing that I would go back and change, it's my time management, because I want to do a lot. I love being productive. It fuels me. But at the same time, I don't want to be tired. I don't want to have, I wouldn't call it burnout, but I don't want to have that constant like sluggishness. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we're going to talk about in today's episode. Tried and tested methods. They're really simple. They're not the kind of things that, takes too much effort to put in. I'm going to say you're going to have to make a conscious effort, but like some of the things you do it once and it helps to get to the root of the problem. So you know what to improve on. And that one thing is a time audit. So an audit is basically just an investigation, right? Why do we look at the reason you clicked on this? Because you like the title, or you're a listener, constant, supportive listener. I love you guys, by the way. Or it's maybe because you are struggling with your time management, as 80% of you did say, right? We all want to improve our time management, but how are you going to improve it if you don't know what exactly is the problem? So that's why time audits are super duper helpful. What we're going to do is we're going to find out where our time is actually going so then we can see how much priority do I need to give to this thing? Why is it taking up so much of my time? We know how we spend our days, but the reality can be so surprising. So for the next maybe 2-3 days, I would say is enough. Track your activities in 15-minute like increments. And then remember, your time audit is for you to look at, not for anyone else to look at. So when you're doing this time audit, if you don't wake up at 5:30 in the morning and then go for a jog and come back and make yourself breakfast and then get to work straight away, don't do that. If the first thing you do is just go to social media and Instagram, that's okay. Do not lie to yourself, because until and unless you find the root of the problem, you are not going to be able to improve your time management. So if the first thing you do is go to social media, write that down. I go to social media. Something to help with these 15-minute increments, because it's just 3 days. Remember that. It may seem a little bit hard or it may seem draining, like, oh my God, why do I have to write this down? Remember, it is just 3 days. But those 3 days, that time audit that you do, is going to be so valuable for you later on in life. Keep like a timer, 15-minute timer, just so you don't forget, because I was doing this and like one whole day went into waste because I was like, are you kidding me? I started off up to like the first half of the day writing it down, and then the second half I just completely forgot. It slipped my mind. So timer, and you'll find it a lot easier to just keep a track of it. And you might be surprised to see how much time gets eaten up by social media scrolling, or that afternoon snack break that then ended up turning into a 2-hour Netflix binge, right? That's that. The other thing I will say is one of the biggest things, like I know I just mentioned this, Netflix binging or scrolling, that takes up so much of our time. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this because honestly, practice what you preach, and I can't really preach on this. So this isn't just to you guys, it's kind of also a reminder to me. It's that we struggle so much. Like, you go onto social media, Instagram is the thing for me, right? And I just go to, I don't know, because I post sometimes. So it's like, check my post, check the insights, comment a little bit, like other people's posts, because Instagram sees that engagement. But then I end up scrolling for an hour straight, and it's a wasted hour. And then I hate myself for wasting that hour. I'm like, how could you do that? You were supposed to be productive. And then that constant like nagging sits in the back of my mind, and that makes me feel so bad about myself. But at the same time, I should be feeling bad because I did waste an hour of my precious day. And I'm the kind of person who like fills up their schedule, which is another thing we're going to address. You should not be doing that. And so obviously if you take up an entire hour, if you've got like a full schedule and you're like put in minute to minute, a whole hour destroying that is crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. So we need to really be making a conscious effort. Now I'm trying a few things. I'm going to let you know if they have worked or not. One of them is like your screen time restrictions. You can like put the settings on, and after a certain, like after, if you say 30 minutes on Instagram, after 30 minutes on Instagram, it's going to say Instagram is blocked. Obviously, then it is up to you. Do you want to actually go on and improve your time management, or are you just going to be stuck into this loophole? Because then it depends. Are you going to exit the app, or are you going to snooze the timer and keep going? There are also certain apps that help with this. I'm not promoting any app, but I will say that it's good to maybe research a few. I'm still trying to find out what works for me, but I will definitely say that is something you should be looking into. Another one is notifications. And I know it's like important to keep your notifications on because, oh, what if someone has a problem and you're like the kind of person that they can trust to, talk to. But also, if you're doing a task, keep getting disturbed by these notifications, you just won't be able to get the task done. There is something called a flow. I know that it takes me a while to find that flow, whether it be academic, professional, whatever it is I'm doing, whatever it is I've set my time aside for, right? I will need a couple of minutes to get into that flow. But if I have my notifications next to me, right, and my WhatsApp's singing like beep, 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 I'm going to be disturbed. I'm going to want to pick up my phone because that's just how notifications were catered. And then that is going to disrupt my flow. The thing is, you think you are saving time by multitasking, and again, we're going to touch base on this later, but you're not. You think multitasking is good? It's a myth. Multitasking is bad for you. And again, I will say this. I'm the kind of person who loves to be productive. Like, I need that to fuel me. So I'm the kind of person to think that, oh no, multitasking is great. Let me just write the script while also checking my WhatsApp notifications because someone texted me to schedule. It's not good because why? I am now losing that creative flow for writing my script or that flow for whatever task it is I'm doing, and I'm focusing on another task. And what happens is that because I'm still struggling to get out of the flow of one task, and I know it may sound really silly right now, but trust me, it isn't. Like, you might notice these kind of things happening with you, right? Because you are going in between, like in and out of different flows, it actually takes you more time because not only have you actually got to complete that other task you were doing to schedule that appointment, let's say in this example, but you've also got to come back, which is going to take an extra flow. You're going to feel disrupted. You're going to try to remember what it is you were doing. And then you're going to be like, you know what? I'm already distracted. Let me go and just do something else. Let me take a break, even though it's the task 2 minutes ago, right? We see all those reels or TikToks where it's like, on my way to take a break after writing 2 words for my 1,000 word essay. But why is it that we feel so tired after writing 2 words? We have some trouble getting into our flow. And the reason for that is, are you fully with a single-minded focus trying to complete that essay? Or do you have your phone in one hand and are you scrolling? Or are you watching Gilmore Girls as your comfort show just to be there in the background, but you're actually not actually focusing on the essay? Whatever's happening on the show or whatever's happening on the side is affecting you. It is affecting your focus. And because of that, you feel so tired after writing only 2 words of your 1,000 word essay. And I know this because it's what I do too. Guilty as charged, but I scroll while doing my homework sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard. But it's like some of the pretty easy tasks that's only going to take 10 minutes. But because I'm scrolling side by side, it ends up taking an hour. So try not to do that. If you are getting into something and you want to just work properly, put your phone on do not disturb. Set those screen time restrictions. What I like to do is when I'm working on something, like sometimes I don't trust my discipline. Sometimes I will be just so hungry for that phone that even if it's next to me and this assignment is due tomorrow, and it's like 11:30 at night, I will still go to my phone. So what I like to do instead is put it downstairs in like another corner of the house, just another room. Because why? If I'm sitting down and I'm working, yes, I'm hungry for the phone, but am I that hungry that I'm going to get up and go to the phone? Not really. Over there, luckily, I can trust my laziness. Again, not a good I do. I will force myself to finish the task that I'm doing. And more often than not, I end up finishing it much quicker than compared to if I had my phone next to me. So that is really important, having that single-minded focus. Number 3, to-do lists. So I said we would touch base on this. I said I love to-do lists. I love to-do lists. But I think I also don't use to-do lists the way they're supposed to be used. I think I abuse to-do lists, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like I said, I'm the kind of person who loves to have their entire day like blocked out minute by minute, right? But is that really healthy? Should you be doing that? No, you shouldn't. And here is the reason why. While it may seem like you're being more productive, what you are doing, in fact, is not giving yourself any room to take a break. You are also not keeping in mind that life happens. Some things are going to happen and it's going to be completely unexpected and it's going to end up taking so much of your time. So by doing this, you are actually not keeping any spare time to the unexpected things because life happens. There are going to be things that happen in a day when, it does not go as you planned or there's an unexpected event that just pops up out of nowhere. That could even be something as simple as like a family huddle. I know I do this. My family does this. We have something called a family huddle, right? We don't do this every day. And there's not like a specific time we do it, but it happens every now and then. It happens. And that family huddle will end up taking maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. But that's a whole 40 minutes of my day that I was supposed to do something else, right? And now, if I don't do that 40 minutes, it's obviously not my fault that the family huddle happened. I'm not blaming it on anybody else, but I'm saying that it happened. What do I do now? It's a whole 40 minutes wasted, per se. Is it wasted? Not really. But that is how it will look like when I look at my schedule at the end of the day and say, what have I done? What have I not done? Because of those 40 minutes, I'll have to shift up activities or I'll have to cut out some activities. And at the end of the day, when I look at my to do list or my schedule for that day, I will feel like I haven't accomplished enough. I will feel like I'm lazy. I will feel really bad about myself. And again, that is how I kickstart that domino effect of self-hate spiral. Oh, you're not good enough, or you're so lazy, or you couldn't do this. Whereas it's not my fault. Your fault. Life happens. The mistake you're making is blocking up your schedule from minute to minute. The mistake I'll be making is not that I'm lazy or that I'm not good enough to not finish my schedule. The mistake I'll be making is that I did not put in some extra time. If I put in like an hour in my day for just unexpected things, then even after that family huddle, let's say it takes 40 minutes, I'll have what, 20 minutes spare time? So maybe I can start working on something else a little bit earlier. Maybe that means that I'll have 20 minutes spare to do something else. Maybe fit in another workout. Maybe I'll be able to read a book. Maybe I'll just be able to unwind, listen to music, chill. So not necessarily do you have to be doing something productive every single second of the day. It's about yourself that time to relax. Give yourself that time to accept that, okay, some things will happen. It's kind of out of my control. That is true productivity. Do I make my to-do list? I've got 3 steps to it. Number 1, blurt out the tasks. What are the things you want to complete today? And again, to avoid you overfilling your schedule, it would be best to have 3 main tasks. So let's say I've got a podcast recording. I've got to finish my drama homework, because I really do. And a script for an Instagram video. I've got to record and edit and post a video for my Instagram. All right, so those 3 are my 3 main tasks. Then I'll have some smaller tasks that, is not something that I have to do necessarily. Like, let's say there's a dentist appointment in there. Nothing that I have to do. I have to go, show up, be there. It's going to take a lot of time, but it's not like my main task. Those 3 things are my main tasks. So I'm going to blurt out all my tasks that I need to do for today. My next step is going to prioritize things. So what I like to do is prioritize my tasks then that I blurted out. And the way I do this is in terms of urgency and importance. There are going to be things that are urgent and important. Like, let's say it's an essay, which contributes to 50% of your grade. And it's due in 2 days. That's urgent. And it's also important because it does contribute to 50% of your grades. So that will be at your highest priority. Then you've got things that are urgent but not important. This could be like an assessment that is due tomorrow, just some small homework. It's not really that important, doesn't really contribute to your grades, but you could get bad markings if you don't, right? So it's urgent, but it's not really that important. It's not going to affect you that much. And then you've got things that are important. And these things are things that if you do will help you a lot. So again, then they're next up in your priority list. So look at that. Urgency first, then we look at importance. And then what I like to do is, because I'm a visual learner, I like to color code my schedule. So I'll take, let's say, yellow for my urgent and important. So my first priority. We'll take blue for my urgent but not important. And then we'll take green for my important and not urgent. And that way, it just makes it so much more fun to look at. So after I complete every task, I'll look at, what color next? What do I do next? It just makes it a little bit more fun. Like I said, there's no one size fits all. Whatever appeals to you, whatever excites you. I know for a fact stationery really excites me. Using stationery, especially highlighters, they excite me. Seeing those pastel colors, that excites me so much. Another thing that excites me is ticking off my to-do lists. I love the satisfaction that comes from that. And a matter of fact, it is a very human reaction. That's why majority of the people who like to, manage their time better do it through to-do lists, whether that be online or like a physical actual like paper copy. It's because we all like to tick off the activities that we're doing, right? To make us feel like we've achieved something, to make us feel more productive. So that's why I think to-do lists might be something that help a lot. And then the third part to obviously creating a good to-do list is then estimating how much time it's going to take, right? And a lot of this information can be gathered from time audits. How much time do you think you'll have to take on that essay? Well, first you've got to put in time for actually researching the essay. Then there's maybe 5 minutes in outlining your essay, and then you've got writing your essay. For me, it depends on how big of an essay it is, but like let's say we're looking at a history essay. Obviously, I've got time constraints. In the actual exam, there's a certain amount of time that I'm supposed to finish it in. So while practicing, preferably I'd want to do it in that same amount of time. I would take maybe 5 minutes to research, right? Maybe 3 minutes to outline. That's 8 minutes. And let's say I'm being ambitious here, but let's say 32 minutes to write. So all in all, that's 40 minutes. You choose how much time you want to spend on a certain thing. That, in fact, is called time blocking. It's another technique. I like to incorporate it with my to-do list making to make a more effective schedule. But time blocking is where you choose how much time you want to put towards a certain activity, and then you do that, right? But I want you to be realistic here. And I don't like to use that word a lot, but in these kind of cases, when it comes to logistics, yes, do be realistic. I'm saying 32 minutes. But if this is my first attempt at writing an essay, will I be able to actually write it in 32 minutes or a total of 40 minutes with research and outlining? Probably not. So what I will do is I'll give myself an hour, right? And then I'll split it up evenly. How much time do you think research will take? How much time do you think outlining will take? How much time do you think writing will take? I think it'll take a total of an hour. But after that hour, will you be thinking about that essay again? No. So that means that hour is perfect for that task. If I do 40 minutes, but I have not completed the essay and it's not in any way, shape, or form good enough for me to submit it, and so I will be thinking about it for the rest of the day as a task that I could not finish, an unfinished task, that is going to make me feel so bad about myself. It's also going to make me feel lazy and unproductive. And I will be thinking about it. Therefore, 40 minutes is not enough. You need to put in enough time so that after you complete that task, it is complete and you will not think about it at all until the end of the day when it's time for you to tick that task off. So that's how you should ideally time block your schedule. And after you time block, fit it into your day then. And what I like to do with this is there are certain tasks to me that feel like rewards more than chores. I love podcasting, but editing the podcasts, that feels like such a chore to me. I hate the post-production stage, whether that be recording and editing my reels on Instagram or podcasts. So what I like to do is I like to do fun activity, chore, fun activity, chore. So after the chore of editing my episodes, I'll do something fun like, I don't know, learning a certain piece on the piano. Now, doing technical work on piano. But when it comes to pieces, I actually do enjoy playing and learning pieces a lot. So that is a fun activity for me. And then I know it's also very important to do my technical work. So after the fun activity, I'll pair it up again with a chore. My reward for doing that chore, a lunch break. I get an hour off. Whatever I choose to do in that hour, it's up to me and it is fun. So it's basically like a reward system that I put for myself. And that's how I find my schedule to be so much more effective because I want to do certain things. And the things that I don't really want to do that I have to do, I am then rewarded for doing that because that makes me feel A, more productive. B, I am rewarding myself because I really do like those tasks. And C, it's just so much more fun. It's a great schedule and I actually get stuff done. Whereas if I do essay, edit, technical work, you're like, no, I can't do this. Midway, I'm gonna want to give up. I'm gonna go back on Instagram, and I'm gonna end up wasting like 3 hours. So make it fun. You know yourself better than anyone else in this world. So how would you like to spend your day? It's up to you. Now we look at techniques. We're gonna go over this really quickly. The first one is the Pomodoro technique. Really famous, really simple, easy to follow, and very useful as well. Again, it's something that I use best because I think it works best for me. Number one, get into an optimal workspace without distractions. Again, this is really important. I think I was watching a video. I can't remember which university's professor it was, but he was doing a talk on how if you're gonna sit in the kitchen and do your work, you're gonna be tempted to eat. That snack will then turn into Netflix binging because you're like, oh, I'm gonna have something fun to go with the snack. Just a quick break, but it's not gonna be a quick break. If you do it in your bedroom, you can hear the bed calling your name. I know that for a fact. If you're gonna do it in the living room, the room is made to live. There's gonna be entertainment. Your family members are gonna be there, or there's gonna be music playing, or the vibe will be such where you don't want to study or work on whatever it is you're working on. So find an optimal study space, no distractions, and make that study space your study space. So as soon as you sit there, you can go from stationary to studying or stationary to working in like under 60 seconds. As soon as you sit at that desk, something in you clicks like instinct. Now I have to work. As opposed to if I'm doing it in the kitchen, I'm not completely sure that instinct is trained it has to work because then it's going to want to eat or whatever it is. There are going to be distractions. So find that workspace. Choose one task to focus on. Again, single-minded focus. Set your timer for 25 minutes and do your work. Now, when that timer ends, you are allowed to take a 5-minute break. And remember, do not set your timer for more than 25 minutes because scientifically proven, it is very hard for the human brain to concentrate on something for more than 25, 30 minutes. So don't torture yourself if you know you can't do it. Take that 5-minute break. It's okay. Or what I like to do sometimes if when I'm in the flow, I like to, change up the Pomodoro technique a bit because again, no one size fits all. And I like to work on it for a little bit longer and then take a longer break at the end. Right? I feel like that helps me more. So if I've done, let's say 50 minutes on end, I'll take a 10-minute break this time to reward myself. Right? And that'll feel better for me because I don't, stop my creative juices or I don't stop my flow because that's just the kind of person I am. Whatever works best for you, do that 3 times. And after you finish that 3-time stint of work, break, work, break, work, break, then you take a longer break. So let's say 30 minutes to, again, reward yourself. That's one Pomodoro technique. The other one is the Eisenhower matrix. We spoke about this before. Urgent, important. So this time it's a little bit more different. It's do. So what is important and urgent? Then we've got what is important but not urgent. So those are the tasks that you need to schedule for later. Then we've got urgent but not important. Those are the tasks that maybe could be delegated. Delegation is so important when it comes to time management. You can't be good at everything. So play along to the strengths of certain people. Who do you know who is good at this thing? Can you give them that task? And you will find that it's hard, especially for someone like me who loves to micromanage everything. It is hard. It's uncomfortable the first time, second time, but after that, you kind of get used to it. And there are a lot more benefits, a lot more advantages than disadvantages with delegating your tasks. So you should really look into that if you don't already. And then you've got things that you should eliminate, which is not important and not urgent. Eliminate it from your day-to-day schedule. It could be dragging you down and ruining that whole improvement of your time management process thing. Then we've got Eat That Frog. Now, I read this book, I think, maybe 2 years back. I was on a plane. I was the only one reading a book. You know that video of the guy was like, am I better than everyone? I had so many moments, even though there were times when I just did not want to read that book. But then it got interesting. Eat That Frog basically comes from the idea of the Mark Twain quote, which says, eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of the day. So there are certain tasks that are really urgent, really important, but we don't want to do them. One of them could be, like, let's say, I told you, right? Editing the podcast, post-production. I do not like it, but it is so important because if I do not edit my podcast or my reels, I won't actually be able to publish it out there, right? So all that hard work is for nothing. So if I say the first thing I'm going to do today is finish editing all of my episodes, nothing worse can happen that day. I've already tackled post production. I feel like I'm on top of this world. You feel like a champion. You feel like a winner because you have overcome one of your worst tasks. And so it feels so good. And it's important to also set deadlines. A lot of people that I know work well under pressure. I think I am kind of that person. So if you set deadlines for yourself, healthy deadlines, not the ones where it's like, oh my God, the assignment is due today and it's like 11:59 p.m. No, deadlines like the assignment is due next week, but for me, I'm going to say it's due a week before. So, yes, I will pressure myself to finish it. And luckily, because I've done it a week before, I'm not actually stressed. That also helps to lower and reduce your stress, anxiety levels, and that helps so much with improving your time management. And then the last thing, and this is really important, and we spoke about it as well, but it's finding blitzes. So multitasking, we said, is a huge myth. We debunked that. Multitasking, bad. No, no. What you can do instead, and a lot of people like to multitask with things like email, scheduling appointments for like health, dentist appointments, stuff like that, or chat. Please don't do that. You stop your creative flows. Instead, say, okay, I have emails that I need to answer. It's not a huge task that's going to take up an hour, but I think it'll take maybe 5-10 minutes, let's say. Because after those 10 minutes, I will not be thinking about it anymore. So I will schedule in 10 minutes to send and answer my emails. And after that, you don't think of it the whole day. And I get it, especially if you're, in a situation that's like extremely corporate and you can't be ignoring your emails all the time. Have certain blocks during the day. It's like every now and then, let's say after every hour, you schedule 5 or 10 minutes to answer your emails, to send emails. That makes such a huge difference because instead of like multitasking it with another thing and spending 2 hours on that, you spend an hour on what you have to, finish it maybe even earlier, and then only 10 minutes on the emails because that is all you require. And that makes such a difference. So, with that, I come to the end of our episode. Although, before we go, I'd like to share one last story. And it's called The Ruler's Curse, or at least I gave it that name. It sounds really nice. The thing is, there's this kingdom, right, which has a rule that every ruler, king, queen, whatever, can only serve for 5 years. And after those 5 years, they're supposed to go and live in a certain forest. The issue is, after serving the 5 years, each ruler who had served and gone by that rule, no one actually survived after the 5 years because that forest was just filled with so many dangerous creatures and stuff like that. Then there came this one ruler, right? People wanted him to become the ruler of the country, so he said, you know what, okay, first let me go and visit the forest that we're supposed to go to after finishing our rule. And he goes to the forest, takes a good look at it, and he says, okay, I'll become your ruler. Now, in those 5 years, here's what he does. The first year, he carefully plans and executes. He starts cutting down a few more trees. I know, bad, deforestation, but it's okay, because he's planting twice as amount of trees somewhere else. At least I made that up. Makes me feel better about the story. In the second year, he then starts to move around the dangerous animals, puts them in other parts of the forest, and he starts to gather the materials needed for building almost like a mini town. Third year, he starts to build houses and creates a sort of safe environment so that by the end of his 5-year rule, when he goes into that same forest that they're supposed to go into, he can actually survive, if not thrive, because he's got a safe environment to live in. And that only happened because he was able to manage his time well during those 5 years. And that is the moral of the story. If you can utilize your time well, nothing is impossible. So thank you very much for choosing to spend your 35 minutes on listening to this. And I really do think it is going to help you. Let me know down below which one is your favorite technique, or if there's a personal technique that you like to use that I have not mentioned, let me know what that is. Because remember, there's no one size fits all. So find the root of the problem and then see what you can do to make it appealing to you to actually apply those solutions. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Triple XRS podcast. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all your constant love and support. Make sure to try these out and let me know how it works. Oh, and before I go, I just want to say, if you have anything else that you're struggling with, anything that you feel like you maybe want to talk about with someone, just send me a DM. It will be anonymous, I promise. And you might not think you're making a difference, but together, we are changing the world, one episode at a time. Sharing relatable stories for relatable students from relatable scenes. With me, Ashna Takhtani.